Have you been dreaming of travel but not sure where to go or how to begin planning? Well, you found the right podcast.
Welcome to Theme Parks and Passports, the travel podcast for every family ready to explore the world, one destination at a time. I'm Melissa Sanchez, travel addict, wife, and mom of 2 big kids. Along with planning all my family adventures, I've been helping others realize their travel dreams through my company, Spellbound Vacations, since 2010.
And I'm Heidi Mackey, a travel enthusiast with a passion for geek and pulp culture. I'm also a wife and a mom of a spicy tween. Since 2017, I've been creating vacation memories for families through my business, House of Mackey Travel. Join us as we share stories, tips, and talk to those in the know to inspire your family's next great adventure.
Because creating family travel memories can happen in any stage of life.
Hi, and welcome to Theme Parks and Passports. I'm Heidi Mackey of House of Mackey Travel.
And I'm Melissa Sanchez of Spellbound Vacations. We're excited to be talking all things Walt Disney World VIP today. And we'll be joined by Dana Zificsak, experienced theme park VIPer. Welcome, Dana.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience as an agent and also as a theme park VIPer?
Yes, absolutely. So I've been in the industry for nearly 12 years, and I've been working with families to send them to Disney, Universal, or the Caribbean or cruises. And I like to help them with all the overwhelming options when it comes to planning these trips because there's so many different parts to it.
Dana and I have actually worked together since 2014.
14. So 11
And
years.
Heidi, and yeah, absolutely. And Dana and Heidi and I have worked together since 2020 or 2021, thereabouts.
Right.
Yeah. So it's been a great experience working together and running our different companies together. And this is one thing that we all love is this VIP experience at the theme parks and how we can actually get there, what you can do, and what VIP kind of means. Would you agree, Heidi?
Absolutely. I think that, it takes your vacation to that next level, being able to make a little bit more magic happen, especially when it comes to Walt Disney World.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a few different options at Walt Disney World that can give you that sort of VIP feel. But, VIP isn't necessarily for everyone. So there is still the option of standby lines. And I did have in my notes virtual queue, but that has ended.
It has.
So virtual queue is not an option. So just kind of a side note, how are you guys feeling about that, losing that virtual queue for a couple of attractions?
For me personally, I think that it takes away a stress. I mean, it kind of adds another stress. It depends on like how it is, which ride you're talking about now, and being able to morph it into the rest of everything. But having to manage a single queue and be on your phone as you're watching it, I think that that was always a little stressful. But the exhilaration of being able to get it once you got it, that'll be missed a little bit too.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with it. I found it very overwhelming, and then also when you do get it, if you're not there, like, we like to hop around a lot, so it was just an extra thing to worry about, but we're also the type of people that will get the lightning lane and not worry about the virtual queue, so, and a lot of my
Right.
clients are the same way as well, and I think sometimes people just like to go and they don't care, they'll just wait in line, and that's just how it is. If they see it's 120 minutes, they can decide for themselves if they want to spend 2 hours waiting or not.
Right, which brings us to our first level of VIP feel at Walt Disney World, which you briefly touched on, Dana, which is that Lightning Lane single pass and multi-pass. So the way I kind of explain it to clients is, clients who have been to Walt Disney World previously tend to find this like feeling of what's going on now. I usually will describe it as a paid Fast Pass because if they've been there within the last 5 years, they probably remember Fast Pass. And then there was Genie, which still sort of exists, but only on the app and a free version. It's kind of weird. But Lightning Lane Single Pass and Multi-Pass is essentially a tiered option of choosing one attraction from the Lightning Lane Single Pass tier. And then down in the Lightning Lane Multipass, there's a tier 1 and a tier 2 option for the rest of the attractions. This is a paid option that clients staying on property can book 7 days in advance of their stay. Clients staying off property can book 3 days in advance of their stay. Have you guys taken advantage of this, either the single pass or the multi-pass, in the last few times you guys have been there?
Every single time.
Same,
Same here.
same.
Yeah, and it may not be every single day, depending on which park you're going to and what your goals are for that park, but it does end up coming up pretty much every single day that you're there. And it's going to depend on which park you're in, whether or not you're going to be doing the single lightning lane or the lightning lanes, excuse me, or if you're doing a combination of both, because some rides aren't available on both, right?
Correct.
If it's a Lightning Lane single pass, it won't be available on the multi-pass. And
Exactly.
yeah, and that's where you pay for just that one ride. But you can also have up to 2 a day, and even in different parks. So say you wanted to do Tron and Magic Kingdom, and then you were park hopping later on, you can get a Guardians one in Epcot.
Now, when you're booking the single lightning lanes, when can you do those? What's the timing for that?
It's 7 days in advance of your check-in date if you are staying at an on-property resort. It is 3 days before your first ticketed day if you were staying out off property. If you're staying in another hotel, if you're over at Universal, you're in an Airbnb, whatever it might be. So it will be 3 days before the first day, your first ticket day. So it can be a little confusing, but that's what we're here for as agents, to help our clients sort of understand it. And I think one of the other things about this is sort of your VIP level with this, is that you do get to make 3 choices in the multi-pass in advance.
Mhm.
And technically it's 1, but from that single pass. But like Dana mentioned, you could technically do 2 because you could do 1 in a different parks.
They're a separate
But
system than the
yeah,
multi-pass system.
Now, I'm going to
right.
play the person who knows nothing so that I can ask you the questions.
Sure.
How does that sound? When can you start booking these? Like, what's the timing that you can? I know we can do the distance, but there used to be a difference between when people who were on property and people who were off property could do it. And that hour, you lost a lot of stuff. But now that there's multiple days, like, can everybody start accessing it at the same time now? Time of day?
It's 7
Yeah.
a.m. from that, and then you can do, if you're an on-site guest, so it's 7 days from your check-in date. So even if your first day there isn't a park day, you still get access to your whole stay. And 7 a.m., you can do it for your whole stay.
And for people who are staying
Yeah.
off property, those, you said it's 3 days before the first day of their tickets, but it does cover like the next 14 days, right? That they can arrive?
Well, it's gonna cover whatever your length of ticket is,
Okay.
because depending on how many days of tickets you have is gonna depend on the expiration date of your ticket. So and I don't know that off the top of my head, like if you had a 3-day ticket, I think it's good for 5 or 6 days maybe. So within that time frame, you have to visit the theme parks within 3 days, let's say. Don't quote me on that. I don't know
I'm
if that's the
actually looking
exact
it up.
number. Okay.
Perfect.
But to answer your initial question, it is still 7 a.m.
7 a.m. for everybody.
Yeah, 7 a.m.
Right. It's still 7 a.m. whether you're on or off property. It's just a matter of which day you can do it for.
Okay, so
And
that's the
so if
advantage.
you're on property, 7 days before your check-in date. If you're off property, 3 days before your first park day.
Okay. So then that's the
Yeah.
advantage of staying on property too, is being able to have access sooner, which is nice. Cool. One more question about restrictions on that real quick. You said you can do up to, how many can you do up to at a time?
You can do 1. You can in advance, it's that single pass,
Okay.
which technically you can do 2 of, because you can do 1 per theme
Mhm.
park. And then under these multi-pass, you can do 3 in advance, but there's tiers there. There's a tier 1 and a tier 2. And you can either choose 1 from tier 1 and 2 from tier 2, or 3 from tier 2.
That sounds a lot like fast passes when they were back in the day,
Yes.
where they had the different tiers. Now, once you've used your first one, can you do another one?
Yes.
As long as there's availability for whatever it is that you want to do,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Does that
Yes, and
tier system stay with it after your initial, or is it once you're in the park, it's whatever's open is open and you can do whatever you want from that point?
yes, and that's why a lot of people will do a burner pass for something that is usually doesn't have a wait, but they can just do it right when the park opens, and that way they can quickly get another tier 1. They call it a burner pass.
Well, and stacking's another term, but we won't go into that today either.
So there is another level in this Lightning Lane pass system. This is the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. And actually, I'm just going to back up for a second. One thing I want to touch on quickly is the Lightning Lane Single Pass and the Lightning Lane Multipass. The price for those, this is an additional cost on top of your theme park tickets. The cost is the same whether you're off property or on property. That part doesn't differ, but the price does differ based on the date you're going or the theme park you're visiting. So it is dynamic pricing, but it remains the same for on or off property.
Got it.
There's another level to Lightning Lane, which is called the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. And this particular pass is basically you don't need any return times. You pay a single price. It can be booked again. That's 7 days in advance or that 3 days in advance. The time frame doesn't change. The 7 a.m. time doesn't change if you're booking Premier Pass. The price does vary. Again, it's dynamic pricing based on theme park, based on date of travel. However, with this, the pricing, we can see that pricing. I want to say it's an average of about 6 weeks in advance, 4 to 6 weeks in advance. So you can have an idea on whether or not you want to pay that. One of the little caveats to the Premier Pass is it's only good at one park and you can only buy one per day. So if you purchase it for your family for Magic Kingdom, you cannot purchase a second one for Epcot later in the day, even if you have park hopper passes. But the great part about Premier Pass, you don't have to make any return times. You don't have to choose any rides, what order you want it, nothing. You can just go to the Lightning Lane line, scan your Magic Band or your Key to the World card, however you're working, your Magic Mobile on your phone, and you can get on that ride. So Dana, I know that you have experienced the Premier Pass this fall, or this past fall.
Yes, I
Give us
did.
your take on it.
So we did the Premier Pass in October, actually, right when it first came out. And the nice thing too is you don't have to worry about single pass, multi-pass, or tiers because you get access to everything. So it includes the single pass rides. It includes the tier stuff you don't have to worry about. And that's why I think a lot of people like it because that way they can, they know they can get it. So we decided to do it for Magic Kingdom, and it was me, my son, and my sister. My sister doesn't get to go to Disney as much as I do, so she wanted to get it because she wanted to do everything at Magic Kingdom, and she knew traveling with my 12-year-old son that if we got multi-pass, he wasn't going to like pick Peter Pan's flight for one of the times, but she wanted to go on those kinds of things. But you're not going like we're not waiting in line for Peter Pan's flight. I'm an impatient person
Mhm.
and I don't like standing. I can walk, but I can't stand. So this came out and I was like, "Do you want to do it? Like it's not inexpensive." But she's like, "I never go to Disney." And I was like, "Fine, we'll do it." She paid for hers and then I only had to pay for me and my son. So it wasn't like we were a big group that it was going to add up real fast. And we did it and we were done with all the attractions before 3 o'clock, and that is including an
Wow.
hour for lunch. I would say all the Lightning Lane attractions. There were other, like, I rode the People Mover while they were going on Tron because I don't go on Tron. But like we didn't do like the Carousel Progress. We didn't do any of the shows. But all of the Lightning Lane attractions we were done by 3 o'clock. Do I think that our human bodies are meant to go on all of those rides in that much of time? I don't think so because we were exhausted after that. Like
Wow.
we were we were supposed to go, I think, to Hollywood Studios that night. We didn't. We were so tired. Because it is a lot, even though you just follow your own, we just started in Adventureland and went around. And yeah, we didn't wait in many lines, but for some reason, it was just really tired. That was like my first reaction was it was tiring. Now, was it nice to not have to make the pre-arrival times? Because this was also like November 2nd. So they had just switched over to Christmas. And so there was Jingle Cruise. And my son really we were there on Halloween. He wanted to do Jungle Cruise. And then he wanted to do Jingle Cruise once it switched over. And so to not have to worry about getting a time for that. It was just like, oh, we can just show up when we want. And so it took a lot of the stress out for sure.
Definitely. And I have had two clients experience this so far, and two very different clients, but they came back with the same reaction. One client, we booked it in advance. They did it for Hollywood Studios. And basically, what they said was it was a wonderful experience. We did not have to use our phones once to schedule anything. It allowed us the peace of mind that we would get to everything. In fact, when we went, it allowed us to finish the day pretty quickly, which is the point you're making too, Dana, is that instead of which this can happen with the Lightning Lane single and multi-passes where you're kind of zigzagging across the parks because you're on your phone, you're grabbing what's next. And you could be over at Tron, but then you're over at Pirates of the Caribbean, and then you're back over at Peter Pan's Flight, and then you're all over the place. Whereas with the Premier Pass, you can start in one section, do everything, move over, and as you mentioned, and as my client is saying, their day was done quickly. They were done.
Yeah, you can only go on everything once. I mean, you could go again and wait in the standby line if you want, but you can only use the Lightning Lane one time with the Premier Pass per attraction.
That's a good note.
And that's the same with the single and multi-pass. Like
Yeah.
you can't go back and choose a second time for an attraction you've already experienced with the Lightning Lane. You would have to do the standby line, and the Premier Pass is the same way. My second client who used it did not book it in advance. She did her regular Lightning Lanes. She didn't do the regular Lightning Lanes for every day though. Some of the days she was doing standby lines. They tend to go a little more often. The client that booked it in advance, according to them, this was a one and done. So they wanted to make sure that they got on everything. My second client who had used it, she goes 1 to 2 times every year and has been for the last 10 years, I would say. I've been booking her for so long. So a little more of an experienced client, but she decided on her last day, we're going to try this. We're going to do the Premier Pass. They did it for Magic Kingdom, whereas my previous client, as I mentioned, did it for Hollywood Studios. She said that it was awesome. They loved that they could go at whatever time they wanted. So there was none of those time limits. She said the price was worth every penny. Very easy to use. Since there were not times, you were in no hurry. And she would definitely use it again.
Yes. And that's a good point. Like we went to a character breakfast before we went to the park. We went to 1900 Park Fair. So like there was no rush to get into the park, like road dropping or anything, because you don't have to worry about making a time. And I think a big reason why we were very tired is because we were trying to see how fast it could be done. So
Yeah.
You challenged
like
yourself, yeah.
yes, I wanted to see how much time, and I think that was a big part of my exhaustion at the end of it because we did stop for lunch, but other than that, we just went from one thing to the other because we wanted to see how fast it could be done
Got it.
for
Awesome.
scientific research, of course.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Now, Melissa, you were saying that your other client, they were the one and done type of thing. They did 2
Mhm.
options though, correct? So what was the other thing that they did? They did this for one day, and then what did they do for the other?
They did, and so this is sort of our last VIP. I mean, there's other options, but this is really your big, like, really feel like a VIP in the
It
theme
carries the
parks, and
name
that's
VIP.
exactly. This is your private VIP tour, and it's exactly what it's called, VIP tour. It can be booked 60 days in advance, which is the same as your
Oh, wow.
dining. So you can book it the same day as your dining, call into the VIP tour line. It's another one of those things where the pricing is dynamic. So based on date, your price could be very different. It really varies. So, say like mid January, the price is going to be very different than if you're looking for a VIP tour over Christmas, right?
Does the price vary
You're
per park also, depending on which park you wanna do?
No.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It does not, because you can park hop with a VIP tour.
Ah, okay.
So as long as you have a park hopper ticket, because with all of these options, Lightning Lanes, Lightning Lane Premier, the VIP tour, even just getting in the standby lines and virtual queue, theme park admission not included. It is a separate purchase. So if you're purchasing any of these other things, you have to have a theme park ticket too.
Right.
You can't do it without it. So my clients did a VIP tour on their first day in the park. They were a party of 6. VIP tours can be up to a party of 10. And once you hit that number 11, you have to have a second tour guide with you.
I'm playing the real doesn't know anything person here. What is a VIP tour?
So Dana has personally done the VIP tour. I've done other tours, but not the specific VIP. So do you want to take that one, Dana?
Sure. So the VIP tour is you get one of those cast members in a plaid vest that walks around with you, and basically you can do whatever you want. You could start they pick you up from your hotel in their vans and they bring you in through the park. You still need to scan your admission. They still have a security type thing, but like they bring you backstage and like I think when we did it once, it was Hollywood Studios. We went in the back and you kind of enter around where Tower of Terror is. And it's like, and you basically tell them, okay, what I want to do today. I want to ride this, this, and this. And you can park if you have park hopping, they will park hop with you. They will drive you to the other parks. So you kind of get an idea of who wants to do what. And you tell them, okay, so in Hollywood, we want to do this, this, and this. And then we'd like to eat lunch. My group, what we did was then we went to Animal Kingdom then, and then we had lunch in Pandora. So they get your table reserved and that kind of stuff. So that way you're not looking for a table. The day we did our premiere pass, I saw the VIP guides in Pinocchio's Village House saving the tables by the window. And I'm going to tell you that day, I think we waited, the longest wait we had that entire day was trying to find a table for our quick service lunch.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't have a VIP tour guide that day, but that was, so they just, and they use the lightning lanes. You don't get backdoor access to the rides, but you go through the lightning lanes with them. And they'll usually ride with you unless you have like a lot of stuff to hold, then they'll be like, oh, just hold your bags and And yeah, if you want parade viewing, they'll rope off but it's really neat. So you could take all of the top attractions in one day and go to each park if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, I would say maybe 2, 3 parks. All 4 would be kind of hard because we did Hollywood and we did a couple attractions there. But this was before Star Wars Galaxy's Edge opened. So we didn't do any of that. We did Toy Story Land, Slinky Dog, Toy Story Mania, Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, and then we were gone from there. And then Animal Kingdom, Pandora, Safari, Everest, ate lunch. I think we only did Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom. I do have a very funny story, though. This is not from my experience, but we were in Disneyland and we were at their equivalent of Pinocchio's Village House. I can't remember what it's called, but this was back when the Frozen Mania was happening, like in 2014, when nobody could meet Anna and Elsa. They didn't realize how popular it would be. And we were sitting there at lunch and either everybody else was riding something or they were getting food. I don't know, but I was at the table by myself and I see this VIP tour guide. You can tell them by the plaid vest. I see this VIP tour guide setting out all this food at the table next to me. And I'm like, somebody who walks in but Jennifer Garner and her family for her birthday.
Oh,
And
wow.
So, and I just was sitting there and I'm like, and then my sister comes, I'm like, Jennifer Garner's family sitting right next to us. And I
That's
joke, I'm
amazing.
like, well, that was the day we had lunch with Jennifer Garner. But the VIP,
That was the real VIP day.
yes. but they got them in to see Anna and Elsa, and then he got their food for them. And I guess you could ask your VIP guide to go and wait in line. If you're Jennifer Garner, I guess you can do that. I mean, I haven't tried myself, but like he had all the food waiting for them. They came out and I was like, yes, but especially at lunchtime and those kinds of things, that's something the VIP tour guides will do. And that is just really helpful because like I said, when we were using our Premier Pass, I was roaming around Pinocchio's Village House trying to find a table. my sister and my son were riding something that I wasn't going to ride. So yeah, the Premier Pass is kind of a waste on me because I'm a chicken. So but I went to get us lunch and then, but anyway, it's
That's so
definitely a
fun.
fun experience. Like it's a good way to commemorate things. It is not cheap though. I mean, it's very
Right.
again, it's personalized. You can go from one place to another. But if you compare pricing, if you have a group of 10, it might be less expensive than the Premier Pass. It just depends on the math, and how
It
much the
does.
Premier Pass is and how much the VIP guide is. And, so I'm a family of 3. So the Premier Pass will always price lower for me than the VIP guide. But if it was us and like my brother or my parents, well, then we might have to be doing some math.
For sure. And I think too, though, the one of the biggest differences between Premier Pass and VIP, aside from the pricing, is the fact that with VIP you can go to multiple parks.
Yes.
Premier Pass, you're choosing that one park, and that's the only one you can use it at.
Yes.
This is one of the great things that I love about the VIP tours and their tour guides is I had a long discussion with my clients about what their wants and needs were. What are your must-dos? What do you want to see? What do the girls want to do? And then I got on the phone with the VIP line and we put together an entire plan for them. And actually the plan I had put together, the VIP tour cast member that I spoke to on the phone, which is not the same as the guide that they had in the parks, but he was the cast member on the phone, said to me, "You know what? I have a better idea." And we reworked the whole thing. And when I tell you, I was like, yeah, this is perfect. My client started in Animal Kingdom, did a couple different rides there, had lunch there, then went over to Magic Kingdom. And as you were talking about, when you were on a VIP tour in Magic Kingdom in the afternoon, if you want to see the Festival of Fantasy Parade, there's actually a special area for the VIP group, which is right
Above the train
at the
station.
train station at the front of the park. So that's where they started their VIP
Oh, wow.
tour when they got over to Magic
Oh,
Kingdom.
so cool.
So they got picked up at their hotel, went to Animal Kingdom, did everything there, had lunch, went to Magic Kingdom, and started their Magic Kingdom portion by watching the parade. And
What a great way to
they
start.
decided, because it's actually a 7-hour minimum,
Oh,
and
7,
that's the
okay.
amount that you pay in advance, is that 7-hour minimum. You can keep the guide for additional 3 hours. It's a 10-hour maximum. You can add those 3 hours day of. So you can decide, and it's the same price. There's no discount for adding it day of. You just get charged, and you get charged the day before for the first 7 hours, and then you'll get charged afterwards for the additional 2, 3, however many hours you add on. But another fun thing is if you start your VIP tour, let's say like around lunchtime or so, there's special viewing areas for the fireworks too. So that's fantastic, especially at Epcot. If you've ever tried to watch the fireworks show Luminous at Epcot, everyone lines up hours beforehand to get a spot so you can have a good view. But if you're on a VIP tour, there's a special area. So those are just some of the little perks. So it's where the Premier Pass, you don't have to make the return times to go on the rides. For the VIP tour, you don't have to do that either, but you've got all these other little perks.
Yeah.
Like Dana said, holding your table while you get your food. They will not hold your kids though,
No.
if you want to go on a ride without them.
That's good to know.
Kids, they're still, you still have to do the child swap for that. So my client basically said that he felt like he was being ultra efficient with his time. The tour guide was incredibly knowledgeable and let you know if what you kind of wanted to do worked with the schedule you had worked out. Interesting thing is that he said it allowed you to skip some of the lightning lane lines, which we know that the VIP tour utilizes the lightning lanes. So I'm not 100% sure where that is coming from, but he said it is pricey, but if this is your one-time experiencing Disney, if it's you don't plan on going back, highly recommend doing the VIP tour.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
amazing. You guys have shared such amazing information about really feeling special, I think, at the Disney parks, like just additional ways. I think the cast members go out of the way to make you feel special, but these are ways that you can definitely up that special magic by making things run smoother, right?
Yeah. And us, the three of us, or your travel agent, like we're here to kind of guide you through what would probably be the best option for your family. It could be standby lines, but it could be that VIP tour.
Mhm.
And that's, there's so many different ways to experience Walt Disney World.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we need to wrap it up. So we'd like to do a segment called Would You Rather? Melissa, what is the Would You Rather this week?
This week's Would You Rather is, would you rather a VIP tour or a Premier Pass? Dana?
I would have to say VIP tour because I mean, there's so many little extras, and if money is no object, I would rather do that.
How about you, Heidi?
I think VIP tour too, because I really am very much I'd like to experience all of it. That includes the shows, that includes the fireworks, and that's something that Premier Pass doesn't necessarily help you as much with. And being able to get as much time out of it, like you were saying, with you're losing time having to wait for the fireworks and line up to be able to see it. Whereas Premier Pass, you can spend that hour, 2 hours doing something else fun and then making your way to the VIP section. So I would say VIP tour. Again, if money was never not an object.
And I think my choice is also VIP tour. If we could pull it off on our next trip, I would love to do it. I think, like you have both said, it's a great way to, one, be able to go to multiple parks in a day and have that VIP feel, that VIP day, and also those other little perks of the special locations for parade viewing, fireworks viewing, being picked up at your hotel, the transportation in between theme parks. All of those things are just make it totally worth it, if you ask me.
Well, thank you so much, Dana, for joining us. And thank you guys for joining us. Next time, we'll be discussing creating VIP experiences at Universal Studios Orlando.